All right, good day, family. Welcome to another broadcast here. Hope you guys had a great day so far. Today is Thursday, May the 15th, 2025. We're going to talk about this book drop today and what it actually means. That's going to be the main thing we're going to be discussing today. Just going to give it about a little over a minute and let people get in, and then we'll go ahead and get started.
The heat rises, but so does our spirit. In the rhythm of the city, can you hear it? Every corner whispers sweet promises. As we chase the slides before that's this. On this high summer day, we're alive with these. Embracing the moment like a warm summer breeze. Sunshine's breaking, skies are clear. Feel the warmth of the
All right, another 30 seconds.
with every step
We'll give people to get in.
A great day, just us two. Let the good vibes flow. Today we let love grow.
All right, we're going to get started. Thank you so much for tuning in to another broadcast. So glad that you guys can make it here today. If you're watching the post-record, I want to welcome you as well. Thank you so much for being here. And another lovely day out here in the great state of Arizona. I'm looking at the temperature now of 83 degrees. So it looks... You know, I went for my morning walk and all of that. Didn't encounter any snakes. I didn't tell you about my snake story, but was walking out there and, man, a rattler snake was looking right at me. And we just calmly walked. He slithered one way. I went the other way. I was like, he said, I don't want any of that smoke. And I said, I don't want any of that smoke either. So we backed off and we went our separate ways. Yeah, this literally just happened like, was it last week? So the next day when I went out there, I made sure I had my Moses stick with me because he won't gonna get me. That you know, I said in case he has any other ideas, I was gonna show him the way. I was gonna show him the way, and so yeah, so it's been all good. Other than that, make sure you're getting outside, by the way, and getting your fresh air and sunlight. We need as much sunlight as possible. Okay, please do that. We've done many videos on this, on the benefits of exposing your skin, your body, your eyes to real sunlight and not being stuck up under LEDs all day, because that's not good for you. All right. You need sunlight. Your body is craving for it. Make sure you're getting that. Okay. All right. So today, we're going to talk about another solution that we are bringing to the table. And I tell you, one of the things that I cannot stand is when I'm, talking with people, in the comments section, and these are individuals who, I'm talking specifically like individuals, they just want to debate. I mean, that's all they're looking for. They just want to debate about something. And the question always comes up, what are you doing about it? Or what's your solution? And then when I list out and say, hey, listen, well, I mean, it ain't saving the world or anything like that, but here's some of the things I'm actually doing. And then I'll list it out. And then after I list it out, I say, okay, your turn. Then they don't say anything. It like literally every time. And so one of the things we've been talking about on this platform is with AI technology right now, regardless of how you may feel about it or whatever reservations you may have. And I'm not discounting those reservations because, you know, I'm not here preaching and telling you, you got to give all your personal details and information and hand it over and all of that. And it's our new best friend and all that kind of stuff. You ain't gonna have Sonny from iRobot up in here like that. You know what I mean? But it is a technology that can be very useful, you know, for many things that a lot of people just talk about. You know, we're about doing, you know, and you know, that's why we did the class. You know, if you go to sambatree.com and you go to Samba University, we did a class introducing people on just the basics of how to, to get into Chat GPT. Now, a lot of people, some of you who may be hearing me, you may think that, oh, anybody can do that. Why do I need a class for that? You know, it's just like anything else. No, this is not Google searching. Okay. Because you can go in it with a mindset of just doing a Google search, or you can go in it with a mindset of actually doing something, like putting feet to what it is that you're thinking about doing. So if it is a project or something like that, you don't just have to do the basic. You can really do something that is meaningful, that is purposeful, and really can make a difference wherever you are, whatever it is that you're looking for. We're in an age right now where you don't have to settle for mediocrity. You don't have to settle for that anymore. There are many things that you can do right now. And then in this broadcast, I'm going to actually demonstrate some of those things. Okay. And so again, that's the first thing I would say is when you think about platforms like ChatGPT or Grock or whatever, what we teach here is don't use those technologies just like a Google search. Do you understand what I'm saying? What we're about is how to take that information. First of all, how to ask the questions, right? How to ask the questions. And then number two, how to make these things become a reality. Okay. This ain't some motivational speaker situation or nothing like that. This is, we're just talking facts now. So for people out there who have been saying, who are like these individuals, like you see on the thumbnail, like, oh, what's your solution? You know, we're in an age right now where the solutions are here now. We're not waiting for government funding. We're not even waiting for a GoFundMe page to be established in some cases. These are things that you can actually do right now. And so that's why I said this is the year of no more excuses, because there are too many tools out here, free tools, that it's a shame if you hear any grown person, especially a grown person, complaining about the lack of this or that or whatever, because the solutions are out there. And so what we did is we came up with this book here. And I'm calling it the Big Black Book of AI Prompts. And it says helping you to begin your AI chat journey by asking the right questions. Asking the right questions. I'm gonna play for you just a couple of clips of individuals who are leaders in the AI and the tech field, and I want you to hear what they are saying in terms of the importance of asking questions, because you know, it's not okay, you got to know computer science and all of that. We're kind of past that. I mean, now it's not even about that now. It boils down to an individual or individuals knowing what questions to ask. All right. So if you give me a moment here, and for those that are joining us, thank you and welcome. And this book is on order now, and I will have the link is already in the description here. But let me go to YouTube right quick, and let me pull up those videos here, and because I want you to hear what people are actually saying, what these industry leaders, what they have been saying, and why you should be paying attention to this stuff. All right, so let me go to this one first. Hold on, let me scroll back here. This is from someone else's platform here. Okay, here we go. All right, so let me pull this up here. There we go. And take a listen, okay? Let's take a listen.
Future. It's just going to change a little bit or a lot.
One of the predictions I'm most confident about the future is it's just going to happen much faster than the past did. And that, young people are always the best at adapting to that, but now it's going to be extra valuable.
I think I agree with that framework incredibly much. And I think anytime you can choose a skill or a class or an activity to do that you feel aligns with the learning how to adapt to new technology, pick it for sure. But on specifics, I still think that software is actually a really important skill to build. And some of it is, it's not going to be about the mechanics. It's not going to be about the specifics of the programming language. It's not going to be about those details. But fundamentally, getting computers to do what you intend, like that's the world we're heading to. And so understanding the low-level details of how it works, that's a starting point. And we do see people who have never coded before who built some of the best AI applications. And so that's actually new, right? That you can actually get computers to do things without having to do it in this contort yourself to the machine.
As it is right now.
All right. So you heard what he said. So basically, we're in an age right now where you have people now who they don't even have computer background or software backgrounds. Now we're in a world right now where people are actually building things without these backgrounds. And it boils down to some key things here. Let me play this clip.
Now can utilize technology that is readily available to you. You now have a computer that will do what you tell it to do, to help automate your work, to amplify your productivity, to make you more efficient. And so I think that this is just a tremendous time.
And going back to that question.
Okay, so let me go back to, let me see if he's saying anything else here.
What kids should study in the future? This is what Jensen said.
If I were starting all over again, I would realize one thing, that one of the most complex fields of science is the understanding of biology, human biology. Not only is it complicated because it's so diverse, so complicated, so hard to understand, living and breathing, it is also incredibly impactful. Complicated technology, complicated science, incredibly impactful. And remember, we call this field life sciences, and we call drug discovery, as if you wander around the universe and all of a sudden, hey, look what I discovered. Nobody in computer science, nobody in computers, and nobody in the traditional industries that are very large today, nobody says car discovery. We don't say computer discovery. We don't say software discovery. We don't go home and say, hey, honey, look what I found today. This piece of software. We call it engineering. And every single year, our computer science, our software becomes better and better than the year before. Every single year, our chips get better. Every single year, our infrastructure gets better. However, life sciences is sporadic. If I were to do it over again right now, I would realize that the technology to turn life science to life engineering is upon us. And that digital biology will be a field of engineering, not a field of science. It will continue to have science, of course, but not a field just of science in the future. And so I hope that this is going to start a whole generation.
The Albert Einstein.
Okay, and then let me move on to this. This is another one I thought was pretty good.
Valley and other areas of other centers of innovation. And the reason why is if you look at a lot of the innovations and breakthroughs today, and you trace them back, as I did in my research, to their origin, a lot of times what you find at the root of it all is a great question, a beautiful question. A great definition I saw for questioning is that questioning enables us to organize our thinking around what we don't know. So in a time when so much knowledge is all around us, answers are at our fingertips, we really need great questions in order to be able to know what to do with all that information and find our way to the next answer.
Very good, very good. Let me stop here for a second because he says something I think is very important. Organizing your thoughts, organizing your ideas. This is a very, very, very important point that I want to pause on. I could tell, again, going back, I had mentioned this in our last broadcast. This was a teacher, and she was mentioning that after 3 years, she's given it up. She's done. She said, because these students really do not know how to read. They don't know how to write, and they just hand everything over to technology. Everything, I'm just going to give it a chat GPT and let it answer all my questions. But when it comes to knowing how to read, how to write, a lot of these students today don't know how to do that. And that's across the board, but this is the trend that we're seeing, particularly here in the West. In the meantime, those that are coming from the East, they're the ones that are coming with those talents and abilities that were once a solid baseline for us here in the West. But now that's not the case at all. This is a real serious problem. And when and I could tell, even when I'm interacting with people, with some people in the comment section, one of the biggest issues that I think I notice is some people's inability to effectively communicate, because a lot of times I can't tell what they're saying. I literally can't tell what they're saying. And, and you see this it comes up very often where it's just, they're just saying stuff, but I could tell, hey, you got to think this thing through. Whatever it is that you're trying to communicate, think it all the way through. Get a complete thought first before you try to come and just say you don't like or agree with something. Get a complete thought first. And of course, people get offended at that or whatever, but I'm saying, I'm serious. I really don't understand what you're trying to say here. And then usually they just, people go away or whatever like that. But that's a very important thing, because this is a very real issue right now. And so what we're contributing as a solution to this is this book here that I'm going to be, as we're going to get into it. But I want you to continue to hear some of these people, and what they're saying is something that we should all be thinking about. So here we go.
Joy for me is that I can take things that are already familiar to you, and by sharing the story of how I've learned to look at them, you can see those things you've been seeing a little differently. So I talk about curiosity-driven research as questions that we try to answer. Why is that tree growing successfully in that place, but never in that place? That's a curiosity question. It's the kind of question a little kid could come up with. Why don't we have those trees at our house? Now, buried in the answer might be something that could give us better fruit someday that we can sell in the marketplace and feed hungry people with. But that result, that application to growing food for people, is buried several steps below that answer. My part of that is to look at that first answer. What is that tree? What does it do? Why is it there? And we call that the curiosity-driven piece, because that answer will be basically turned over to other experts who know how that might play out into something that is important for the marketplace. But there's no substitute for that first step, for that little kid question.
The research, a 4-year-old girl is asking like as much as 300 questions a day. And when kids go into school, you see this steady decline that happens as they go through the grade levels, to the point where questioning in schools by junior high school is almost at zero. There are a lot of reasons why questioning declines as we get older. But one of the key issues is that in schools, we really value the answers. And there is almost no value placed on asking a good question. In fact, the teachers now are so stressed to teach to the test and to cover so much material that they really can't even entertain a lot of questions even if they want to. So it becomes a real problem in our school system, in our education system. I think people are starting to address it, try to deal with it. In my research, I found a number of teachers, schools that are trying to place more emphasis on questioning.
I often start.
I think that's all good there. And there's plenty more to that video there, but I wanted you to get a basic idea of what the issue is out here today, is that we're dealing with a society made up of people who have been trained not to know how to ask right questions. That curiosity that we have as children, it's kind of diminished. and people just value more just quick answers, but not so much allowing their brain to wonder a little bit and to ask. And then in that wonderment, you begin to start finding yourself going through different branches and stuff on how to build solutions to these things. So this era of, when we look at our history, I'm talking about Black folks now, we have been trained to always look to the government to give answers. Do you understand what I'm saying? You see how that's connected? We're always looking for the government to give us an answer. You know, for those that are out here that are really pushing hard for reparations, you know, the solution for them, the answer for them is money. Just give me a bag of money. Give me a bag of money, because my ancestors, well, they earned it. You didn't pay them, so pay me for it. Okay, well, let's play that out. You get the money, right? What is your long-term plan for it? You know, what are you going to do with it? And to think even deeper thoughts about this, have you ever thought of the fact that you spend all of this time saying how evil and wicked the government is, but yet you're asking them to be fair and to give you a fair assessment of what the work of your ancestors was worth? Do you see how much you're depending on? So you're asking them to give you something, but you're also asking them to be fair. You understand? So these are questions that oftentimes when I'm listening to people, I can tell they're not allowing themselves to, you know, go through and really process this, right? Someone asked, where can I get the book? You just go to sambatree.com. If you look in the description of this video, I actually put the link there. Okay. But yeah, I'm gonna actually go through some of the book here so you can see exactly what's in it. You know, so yeah, but I appreciate you asking. But anyway, with that being said, let's move on. Oh, before I continue, I do want to mention that at Sambatree, we have this Mother's Day sale going on. It's pretty much, we're on the last day right now, and it's going to end today at 7 p.m. today. 7 p.m. I guess that's Eastern Standard Time. I don't know. She told me just to tell y'all 7 p.m. Mothers and others. You have the code right there. 15% off everything. Pay attention to what I'm saying here. The entire store. 15% off. So that means with this code, you can save even on this book. 15% off. All right. So make sure you write this down, screenshot it or whatever. You got till 7 p.m. Let me ask her real quick. Nicole, you there? You said 7 p.m. Is that our time? 7 p.m. Eastern. All right. So 7 p.m. Eastern time. 7 p.m. Eastern time tonight. So today is May the 15th. Don't try it May the 16th because it ain't going to work. So if you want to get this, today is your day. All right, because you get a discount the way that worked out. I didn't even know. I wasn't even thinking it was going to work out that way, but it did. Use this code, Mothers and Others. 15% off the entire site, the entire website. All right, you get to save on that, okay? So I'm going to leave that up there and just for a few moments there so people will know. All right, so let's go ahead and here's the book here. I'll bring this up again for you on the screen. It's right there, The Big Black Book of AI Prompts. Now, in this book here, I'll just go ahead and open it up here a little bit. Now, I'll just get it up here. Hold on, not him. We'll get that up. Okay. So this is just my little copy here. Let me see if I can slide this over and see how that looks. Okay. So y'all see me and all that here. Okay. So this is the book right here. So ChatGPT. So what it is that what I did was I have several sections of things in, quite a few sections in here. We have over 450 prompts in this book, over 450 prompts. And it took me a lot of time to really put this together, to figure it out. Okay, which one they were giving me some that I just, no, we're not We don't need those. And so it was, I had to really go through this to make sure it was just right and it was doing exactly what I wanted it to do. And this is what we have here. So again, do not think in terms of these are just Google searches. No, think of each one of these prompts as entry points into what it is that you are trying to build and what it is you're trying to do. Think of it in that way. Okay. All right. So just real quick, I'll just go through this. So for example, in the first page, I talk about the, what is the basic format your prompt should look like, right? So we break it down. I give you the breakdown of that. And as you go through this, we go through the ethical AI use. These are some prompts, for example, on that. So let me just read to you some of the examples here. All right. Draft a 200 word code of ethics for deploying facial recognition in majority Black cities, citing 3 fairness principles. See, this is the level of thinking that we're going to have to be. See, that's why I said it makes me so tired and sitting up here talking about criminals and thieves and all these other fools out here that make these bad decisions. And then you got to, people do these whole videos and trying to convince people, hey, no, that's not you shouldn't be looking at them. They're not adding any value to you. You know what I'm saying? But this is the level of thinking that we need to be in this age right now. All right. Write a 1-page policy brief urging Congress to ban predictive policing algorithms until bias audits are mandatory. And we're going to try some of these as well. All right. Let's see. Generate 5 social media captions that warn users about deep fake misinformation. Have you seen these type of conversations going on your feed? They need to be. Design a printable infographic explaining data redlining in 5 simple steps. See, these are very solution-based things that we're going over here. All right. So that's just the ethical use section. Then I have Black youth empowerment. All right. So I said, create a 150-word vision board guide for STEM careers with 3 quotes from Black scientists. And then I'm just reading some of them here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go through and we're going to actually try them on different platforms. So we're going to try some of these on ChatGPT. We're going to try them on Grock. We're going to try them on Perplexity. We're going to try them on what was the other one? Gemini. So you get to see how they, depending on the platform, you're going to get slightly different answers. All right. Here we go. Outline a 200-word leadership boot camp featuring service, debate, and coding hacks. These are solutions, y'all. All right, let me move on. That's all. That's under the Black youth empowerment. All right, I'll move on to and I'm just highlighting a few, and then I'm gonna circle back, and then, like I said, we're gonna try some of them. Okay, Black health and wellness. Let's see. Draft a 300-word guide to starting a community herb garden focused on immune boosting plants. See, when you're doing these searches, when you're doing these inquiries on these different platforms, it's not just giving you just basic answers, but it's also it's charting out the how to step by step by step. And you can always customize all of these prompts based on wherever you are. Whatever your situation is, you can customize it. But when you do these queries, it's going to give you a plan of action for everything. Let's see. Produce a weekly meal plan featuring Afro-Caribbean and anti-inflammatory dishes. Let's see. Draft a 200-word grant proposal abstract for a mobile health clinic. Again, you can customize all of these. And then I'll go in here. Then I have a section on artwork prompt fundamentals. All right, we have a whole section on artwork prompt fundamentals. And I'm focusing mainly on 2 different platforms, and that is ChatGPT and Midjourney. Those are the 2 platforms that I'm focused on. And with these prompts, they are all, I got over, I think it's over 70 black artists, painters, sculptures, digital artists. I mean, you name it, I have them. It's about over 70 of them. And we have prompts for each one. Like, I'll give you an example. I say sci-fi spaceport bustling with traders, high key studio light, 35 millimeter, photorealistic, inspired by Kehinde Wiley. Then we got Carrie James Marshall. Then we have Jean-Michel Basquiat. I hope I'm saying this. I never can say his name right. Emory Douglas, Aubrey Williams, Nick Cave, Faith Ringgold. I mean, it goes on and on and on. I have prompts for a lot of the black artists over the years. So if you're trying to create an image based on a certain style of a black artist, we got a lot of prompts here that will serve as good starting points for you so that you can do your thing. And trust me, if you stick around on this broadcast, we're going to try some of them. All right. So you can see for yourself. All right. All right. Let's move on. Let's see. So that's artists. I got a whole section of that. Okay. African and diaspora history. Write a 400-word essay on black participation in medieval Spanish guilds. Now, anytime it says write a 300-word or 200-word this or whatever, again, think these are just starting points. You may just ask it where it's like, hey, can you tell me about black participation in medieval Spanish guilds? Or draft a grant proposal into digitizing Freedmen Bureau records. Give me, help me to write a grant proposal where I can go to the Freedmen, all y'all out here that now you Freedmen people. Okay, have you had the conversation after you finish arguing on Twitter? Have you had the conversation on taking all the Freedmen Bureau's records and digitizing them and figuring out how you can get a grant to do it? Well, you could do that. All right. Again, the goal of this is to spark those ideas in your head so you can start putting wheels on them and start actually doing something. All right. Provide a 6-quiz question on the Great Migration cultural impact. Let's see here. Outline a walking tour of Black Marcel. I'm just looking here. I'm just skipping over here. Write a 150-word postcard from 1920s Black Paris. And that's it. Okay, so there's plenty others. I'm just highlighting some things. Then we have a section on STEM. Science, technology, engineering, and math, STEM, because I wanted to make sure that was in there as well. Design a robotics lesson for 8th graders that uses Afrofuturist storytelling to teach basic sensor programming. These are the kind of conversations that need to be had today. Current black culture right now, it ain't in the mainstream. This is not in the mainstream, but it needs to be in your stream. You understand what I'm saying? It needs to be in your stream. Create a Python coding challenge that visualizes African fractal art patterns using turtle graphics. Wow. How about that one? Develop a science fair project guide comparing drought tolerant crops native to Africa. Let's see here. Produce a 400-word article explaining CRISPR in plain language, with examples relevant to sickle cell research. Generate 5 TikTok script outlines busting myths about math anxiety. All right, so that's that. I'm just skipping over. And like I said, again, we're going to go back and you're going to see examples of me using some of these prompts on those different platforms. And then I'm also going to do a couple of the artwork ones as well, so we can look at them together. Okay, this is all in the book. The description, in the description of this video that you're watching right now, is the link where you can go and purchase it. On the screen, I think I have it on the screen. Yep, right below me. Do you see that blue line? Right now, until 7 p.m. tonight, you can save 15% off. 15% off. All right, so you take advantage of any discount. Take advantage of it. Daily living and self-development. Write 150-page word affirmation script specifically for Black fathers balancing work and family. Generate 10 phone wall. Okay, not that one. Let's see. I'm trying to think of ones that really stand out to me. Design a bullet journal layout that tracks weekly ancestral research tasks. Draft a budgeting worksheet that merges the 50-30-20 rule with goals to support local Black businesses. Design a 30-day gratitude journal template incorporating African proverbs for each day, if you want to do that. All right, let's go on. Let me highlight some other ones. Okay, Black family and relationships. Create a list of 10 conversation starters for intergenerational dinners that explore family history. Let's see. Design a weekly tech-free evening ritual plan for families, including board games by Black designers. Create a 30-day challenge for parents to cultivate emotional intelligence in children. Produce a chore chart that teaches financial literacy by assigning budget points for completed tasks. All right, I'm gonna go a little bit quicker here. You got we have a section on financial literacy for the culture. Draft a 200-word budget boot camp guide for recent HBCU graduates, focusing on loan repayment and supporting Black-owned businesses. Let's see. Draft a 250-word introduction to cryptocurrency, emphasizing security and common scams affecting communities of color. Let's see. Develop a budget tracker template that allocates 10% of income to philanthropy within Black communities. Create a decision tree for evaluating crowdfunding versus small business loans for a startup hair care line. It goes on and on and on. Like, if you want to do business, it's literally, I got plenty of starter points here for you. Black creative writing and storytelling. There's a whole section just on that. So if you're into that, I'm just going to start skipping. I got all kind of prompts for that. Number 12, Black education and homeschooling. For those that are in homeschooling, I got some good starter questions for you on this, prompts for that. Let's see. Design a semester-long African diaspora history curriculum for 5th grade homeschoolers, including key projects and field trip ideas. Come on, y'all. Did you hear that? This is what I'm saying. There is no more waiting. This is the time. You can do this stuff on your own now. Design a semester-long African diaspora history curriculum for 5th grade homeschoolers, including key projects and field trip ideas. This is a neat one. They said outline a STEAM, and that's science, technology, engineering, and math. It's STEAM. Sometimes it's STEM. I don't know if there's a difference. I don't think there is, but it's pretty much the same. Outline a STEAM unit where students build a model Kente pattern tessellations using coding blocks. I had to look that one up. I thought that was cool. Develop a rubric for grading oral history interviews with elders about civil rights activism. This is a neat one. Create a glossary of 15 astronomy terms translated into Twi or Yoruba for bilingual learning. Anyway, okay, almost finished here. Part 13, Elder Care and Ancestral Wisdom. Draft a 200-word guide for hosting intergenerational storytelling nights honoring family elders. This is I like this one. Create a weekly exercise plan combining gentle Afrobeat chair workouts for seniors. Ain't that something? Design a memory box project using kente fabrics to aid elders with dementia. Now, for some of y'all that why you gotta be African? We all this stuff. This is where, like I said, these people, I can't roll with people like that. When you study the mathematics behind different African patterns, like kente cloth, or some of even the quilts that we here in the Americas that we built, these weren't just regular quilts. These things were encoded with instructions and all that stuff. And some of y'all, you know full well about what was going on down in in Colombia, in South America, where braiding patterns of black folks who were down there, these braiding patterns, they had directions and maps on where to go and all that stuff. You don't want to distance yourself from your story. You understand what I'm saying? So this is great stuff here. All right, so here we go. Produce a recipe card preserving a traditional African herbal tonic for vitality. Here's another one. Create an audiobook club schedule featuring classic works by Black elders. Now, this is a whole section on elder care. I got a whole section on that and how to keep their minds active and all of that stuff, and developing plans. See, we don't have to depend on a nurse coming by and having to roll things out. You have the information right here to customize things on how we can take care of our elders. It's right here in your face, literally right in your face. I have a section on Black culinary arts. Draft a 300-word origin story of Jollof. For those of you who like Jollof, I do. Highlighting regional variations across West Africa, if you're into that. Again, these are ideas. These are entry points. If you want to take dishes that we created here as Black Americans, you can do that and draft and do a whole origin story behind that. Like, just name some of the things that we used to make here, that we make here that are staple within what we call Black culture today. You can find a whole origin story on those things. And by extracting that information, now you have the information. Now you can add your own spin to those recipes. And, we have outlined a 4-week meal prep plan featuring low sodium soul food classics, if that's your thing. Now, someone may know what this is. They're telling me what it is. They said, create a Firmation guide for homemade ginger pineapple sobolo, or they say hibiscus fizz. Wow, that sounds good. And it's a whole thing just on Black culinary arts. I have a whole section on that. How to start a food truck, all that stuff right there, right? Genealogy. I have a whole section on genealogy, on how to properly do a genealogic study on your own family. Then I have a section on a 30-day challenge, and these are just random challenges that you can do for yourself, for your family members or whatever. Create a calendar for 30 micro workouts, a daily gratitude prompt series focused on Black historical figures, design a language learning calendar, teaching different languages. You could do all this stuff. And then I have a section on bonus wildcard prompts, and those are even more prompts, creating scavenger hunts and all of this stuff. So you'll find all of that and more. And let me see, because the final count of prompts I had in here, I said 455. Yeah, it's 455 prompts. 455 prompts. And these prompts, like I said, again, these things can be used. These are starter points to get not only your wheels turning, but also now you're able to put some wheels on those ideas, and now you can start going somewhere and doing stuff. I never want to hear anybody come up in my face again and ask me, or to ask, well, we can't, but what are you doing? What's your solution? I'm giving you solutions right here. The technology that's out here, they're giving us the solutions today. What we did was we compiled all of this stuff. And we said, okay, let's create a whole book. They'll make it a lot easier for people to take these ideas and really build upon them. And so that's what you have in this book here. Okay, so now what we're going to do is that we're going to take some of these prompts and we're going to try them out. All right, so you can see what it looks like. Let me pull something up here. We're going to start with ChatGPT, and let me pull one up here. Let's see. Okay, so let me do this. I'll do this one first. All right, so let me switch here to here. We're going to start off with this one here. Hold on. Okay. Let me slide this over here. There we go. Almost there, y'all. There you go. There you go. All right. So the first one we're going to do is this one here. Write a one-page policy brief urging Congress to ban predictive policy algorithms until bias audits are mandatory. Let's just see what it comes up with. I'm on 4.1. All right. Let me go to 4.0. I'll just switch it to that. Oh my gosh, what are you doing? There you go. All right, so let's see what we come up with. So it's writing out this whole policy brief. Now, this is actually an issue that I have been talking about. I've actually done videos on this. Well, not police, not this one, not this. Sorry about that. I'm thinking code of ethics. That's what I was thinking about. But no, this is an entire policy brief. Ban predictive police algorithms until mandatory bias audits are implemented. This is a very serious issue, and it's already written for you. Now, I would not advise you just to take this and email it and send it, but use your brain. This is something, again, that we stress in the class. When you're using these technologies, you always want to make sure that you are part of it. You are in the driver's seat. So regardless if it's you putting together something like this or a piece of artwork, make sure that you are putting your part in it as well. Add your own creativity, add your own spin to it. You understand what I'm saying? Again, the purpose of these prompts, these are just starter points. Okay, so policy brief. So it just went through and listed it all out for us. Someone can take this and just literally run with this. It can literally just run with this. So that's one. Let's move on here. Let me try something else here. Let's see. I'm moving on to the next section, Black Youth Empowerment. Okay, here we go. Outline a 200-word leadership boot camp featuring service, debate, and coding hacks. All right, so that's the one we're going to do. But this time, I'm going to go to Grock, and I'm going to see what Grock will tell us, okay? Grock is a little bit different, but it's still an LLM. All right, so let's try and see what Grock tells us. So it lays it all out for us here. Leadership boot camp outline, 200 words. There you go. And it gives us that. Day 1, service leadership. Day 2, debate and communication. Day 3, coding hacks, problem solving. And it gets into that if you're into that kind of stuff. And then you can go in even further and, add more to whatever it is that you want to add to this. You understand what I'm saying? So there you go. All right. So let's move on to something else here. Let's see. Black health and wellness. Let's do one here. Okay. I'll do one. Produce a weekly meal plan featuring Afro-Caribbean and anti-inflammatory dishes. All right. So I'm going to do that one. This time I'm going to go on Gemini. We're going to go on Google Gemini. Let's try it there. You can use any of these platforms, and, each platform has its own, pluses and minuses on what they give you. Here, so they did a whole week thing for me. It did exactly what I asked it to do. You want solutions on how to better your health and your wellness? It's right here. You got to know what questions to ask. The future belongs to people who know what questions to ask. All right. What prompts to use. Is literally listing out all of this right here. So if you really are a big fan of Caribbean food, but you want your Caribbean food to be very healthy and the focus is on anti-inflammatory properties, then here you go. Here's your answer right here. Next. What are you waiting on? What you waiting on? They're waiting on you. All right, let's move on to the next one here. Let's see. I'm gonna do artwork last. I'll skip that and then I'll come back to it. Let's see. Let's do this one. Outline a podcast episode comparing Nubian gold dentistry to modern grills. I'm under the African diaspora history section here. I'm just pulling some random ones here. So we're in perplexity now. I haven't used this in a while. Let's see what it will give us here. So with perplexity is going to show you what's up, how it's coming up with it and all of that. Here you go. So for those of you who are looking to get into podcasting or doing like what you see me doing here, you got all your script stuff here. All you got to, I've seen people just get up and just read stuff. As long as the information is good and helpful, shoot, what are you waiting on? Look at this. Look at all the information it's giving you here. It's giving you all this information here, and you can actually, again, you can massage it. Some of the stuff in here, you may say, well, it's not, I need you to expand a little bit further on this section, or I need you to take this out, or I need you to add this, so forth and so on. You can do that. Okay. So again, the purpose of this book here is to get you to start thinking where you're organizing your thoughts. That's really what this boils down to. Do not think of this as just simply it's a different Google. No, you want to think along the lines of organizing your thoughts so that your thoughts should turn into action. You understand? All right. So let me move on to another one. I like this one here. We're under STEM for Black Excellence. That's the name of the section. Design a robotics lesson for 8th graders that uses Afrofuturist storytelling to teach basic sensor programming. Let's take a look at that one and let's see what we come up with that. So this is Grock. So let me go back under Grock here. Grock to me is my take on Grock. It's very good. All of them had their pluses and minuses. Grock to me, it's like dealing with someone who's extremely smart, but they haven't had a friend in years. That's the only way I can describe it. And then finally you come around and it's just overloading you with a whole lot of information. So yeah, it's good, but sometimes I can be a bit overwhelmed on the results that it gives. So hopefully they'll fix that. I've even seen other people bring that same point up. So anyway, let's see what Grock tells us, and let's go. Afrofuturist robotics lesson plan for 8th graders. It's giving me a whole plan here, giving me a materials list, lesson overview, introduction, sensor basics, programming activity. Is even giving me Python, some Python coding to play with. It's still churning. Is it almost? Yeah, it's done now. So you have a whole outline here. And with this, you can actually go in and ChatGPT has the same feature. You can go in here and you can customize it on this screen. On ChatGPT, it's called Canvas, but it operates the same way. So if you want to change the title or whatever, you can edit it and then rerun it, and it'll have all your corrections in it. All right, let's just do a few more, and then we're gonna go to the artwork section. Okay. All right. Let me see. Black family and relationships. Let's do. Create a list of 10 conversation starters for let's see, third channel, emotional intelligence. Okay, how about this one? Create a 30-day challenge for parents to cultivate emotional intelligence in children. I like that one. Well, let's go to ChatGPT for that one. Again, it really doesn't matter ultimately which one you use, but as you play around with these different platforms, you'll get to see that some have more, are stronger than others on these things. So here we go. So let's see, create a 30-day challenge. Here's a 30-day emotional intelligence challenge for parents and children. A daily activity guide to help build your children's emotional awareness, empathy, and self-regulation skills in fun, engaging ways. Each day includes a simple prompt or task that fosters communication, reflection, and emotional growth. So it's given us an entire chart here on things that you can do, the problems that we talk about, the videos that I'm showing that show, of black folks doing some very unfortunate things because, again, they don't know how to communicate or they lack empathy or self-regulation. Well, here's the solutions right here. See, again, we're not just showing videos. We're also showing you, here's some solutions here to answer how you can fix it. It starts with you. It starts with you. Okay, it's not hard. We're in 2025. It's not hard to address these issues now. And is even offering, would you like this formatted as a printable calendar or a PDF for sharing with parents? You can even do that. The thing I like about, these platforms is that once you put your inquiry up there and it responds to it, at the end of it, a lot of times what it will do is make some suggestions on, hey, where else do you want to go with this? Hey, would you like for me to build you this or that so we can get this started? I mean, you can do that now. All right. Let me move on here. I'll just do 2 more and then we'll switch to artwork. Okay. Black education and homeschooling. Let's see. Let's do that one. We're going to do design a semester-long African diaspora history curriculum for 5th grade homeschoolers, including key projects and field trip ideas. All right, we'll do that one. I'm going to go to perplexity for that one. Let's see, perplexity, what they're talking about. And it already is starting for us. It's getting things together. And the perplexity that you see here, this is not, I didn't pay for this one. Like, I'm on the free one right now. So you can use these platforms. All these platforms I'm using right now, they have a free version. That's what we're using now. So what you're seeing right now, what perplexity likes to do on default is they'll show in the background, it shows you how it's thinking. So that's what's happening right now. It's kind of showing you how it's thinking. Now, boom, it's done. Now, here you go. And so for each one of these sections here, it's laying it all out for me, and I can expand it. So when I get to, like for example, Unit 3, Abolition and Reconstruction, weeks 9 through 12, key topics, projects, field trip. And let's say if I want to add a little bit more to that, you can do that. Okay. So we're talking about building schools here. This is the era that we're in right now. That's what, Umar Johnson, he has a lot of great things to say, but he is operating in 1980s mindset when it comes to building schools, because the era of having to build physical schools right now, we're not there anymore. We're not there anymore. Okay. Now you have the power to start building your own curriculums for your own children, and we don't have to deal with the mess. You can do that now. You can get together with other parents who are like-minded and do this together, where now you got not just your brain at work, but the brain of these other parents. You guys are having a whole big brainstorming session where you're like, okay, what would our ideal curriculum look like for our children? You can sit down and you can do this. And in this book, it shows you what to ask and what inquiries to put in, regardless of what platform you're using. All right, let's do one more and then we'll get to the artwork. Okay, so let me see right quick here. Well, you get the idea. There's some other ones here, but I think you get the general idea there. But anyway, it's this book here again is available now over on sabatree.com. Just go under Saba University and it's there right now. Look at the bottom of the screen here and you got that strip right there. Yep, we are running a promo right now on the entire site. So whatever it is that you decide to get between now and 7:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can save 15% off. 15% off. That includes this book here. You can save an additional 15% off. All right. So don't wait if you're trying to save some money. This is the time to do it. Okay. All right. So now let me get this off the screen here. Let me switch off here. Now what I'm going to do is, what's the easiest way to do this? I'll go to ChatGPT now. And I'm going to use a couple of these prompts here. Okay, now we're doing artwork. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use just a couple of them here, and then maybe I'll go over to Midjourney. Okay, I'm just trying to, okay, here we go. Okay, here we go. All right, so let's do this one here. Okay. And if you took our AI artwork class, we talked about how ChatGPT doing artwork versus Midjourney. We talked about the differences between the two. And so you'll get to see some of that on what I'm doing right now. Okay, so let me bring my this back up on the screen so you can see what I'm doing here. Okay. All right. So here's my prompt. Historical reenactment of Harlem Renaissance, neon and cyan and magenta, and 85 millimeter photorealistic inspired by Chigozie Obi. And I'm just going to take these asterisks out because I don't want it to cause any confusion there. Okay, so let's see what it comes up with for us here. And ChatGPT periodically, when you're doing these image generations, because it's always learning, sometimes what it will do is actually will create two images, and then you get to pick which one is the best. It doesn't do it all the time, but sometimes it will do that, because it's learning what you like. All right, so it's generating now, as you can see. All right, so we're just sitting here waiting. And so you get to see, now you can create artwork using these inspirations from these Black artists. And yeah, I just think I really like that. and then you can also combine the artists as well. So, I'm using Obi's inspiration, but I can also pull from other artists as well. And, and then you can create a brand new one. So the results, I don't know what the results going to look like. I'm just trying stuff out. Again, these are just starter points. These are just starter point prompts for you. Use your own creativity and imagination and create your own stuff. All right. So it's almost finished here. ChatGPT, it does take a little bit longer to create the images. But the thing I really like about ChatGPT is that it's typically you get what you're asking for. And that part I do like. All right. So look at this. This is our result here, using the inspiration of that African artist, if you're familiar with their work. And look at that. Looks very nice. Good starter point. I would say this is a good starter point image to work off of. If it was me, I would refine it a little bit more, because they're not in a natural pose. It's not really natural. So you can customize your prompt to where it's a little bit more natural. Everything about this, just their pose says AI to me. All right. When you come to this one looks good, looks a little bit better. It's ticking those boxes for me. But again, you can customize it based on, your own preferences. So I'll just say for now, for this, I'm going to go with that. All right. And let me try another one. Let me go with another prompt here, and then we'll jump over to Midjourney. Okay. This is going to be Ebony G. Patterson. All right, so let's do a prompt based off of her style. Okay, carnival dancers in Rio, soft, overcast, 50 millimeter, photorealistic, inspired by Ebony G. Patterson. All right, so let's see what we come up with that one. And then after this one, I'll pull up Midjourney, and then we'll try 2 over there, okay, and just see what we come up with here. Okay, so sometimes you'll run into this stuff here. This is Midjourney. It says, I was unable to generate that image because the request violates our content policies. This is one of the bad things I don't like about, that I really can't stand about ChatGPT, because they won't tell you exactly what did you violate. What did I do wrong? They won't tell you. Like, I've seen it where you see how this other one we did, and it had 2 images. I've seen it where it will generate one side, it will generate the image. The other side, it will tell me I violated the policy. So, that's something I'll just put a down arrow on it or whatever. Maybe they can look into it. I don't know. I'll just leave it at that. I don't care right now. All right, let me just move. Let me try another one here. Okay. All right, let's try this one. Solar powered village festival, golden hour glow, telephoto realistic, inspired by Jack Whitten. All right, so let's try that one. This is why, Midjourney to me is much better. I don't run into that as often over there. Let's try that one and see if we're going to run into an error with this one as well. Did we violate something on this as well? The other thing too, it could be because maybe the artists have put something in to say, hey, listen, don't use my name. Yeah, here's another one here. So if you play around with this, we'll run into one in a moment here. Pan-African. Okay, let me see. Let's do another one. I'll try one more. I'm trying, y'all. Eyes are trying. I'm trying. All right, let's see. Nomadic caravan of the Sahara Dawn, moody, gets all that. Okay, so let's see what it comes, if it does anything for us here. If not, we'll jump over to Midjourney, okay? and we will see. Yeah, I run into more brick walls with ChatGPT on that. And yep, they're gonna do it again. So I don't know what it is, but they do that. But yeah, you can use these prompts. You know, you may want to just take the artist name out of it altogether and just put your name, or not put your name on, because if you ain't an artist, ain't gonna put it. But maybe you want to take the artist name out. Let me just try that, because I don't know if that's the issue. Sometimes that could be the issue, the artist name. And let's just see if it generates anything for us. Now it's not going to be based, this particular prompt here, now that we took the artist name out of it, it's not going to be based on any style. Yeah, I don't know what it is. Anyway, let me get out of this here. And now what we're going to do is let me pull up a window for Midjourney, and give me a moment here. And we're going to try 2 prompts over there. Okay. All right. Where are you, Midjourney? Okay. Thank you for sticking around, y'all. Really appreciate that and dropping by here. Okay. So let me see. All right. So now I'm on Midjourney. Let me bring Midjourney up on screen for you so you can see what I'm doing. I'm on Brave browser. There you go. All right, so let's move that over to here. Okay, so I'm on Midjourney right now. And this is, again, a reminder for you. We have a whole AI artwork class that we taught that's already ready to download for you. The video's done. And videos done along with you get some a cheat sheet that has some very good prompts on there that is not in this book here, but some prompts there that are very, very helpful if you really want your stuff to really stand out. I got some prompts in there that really help you out. That comes with the class there. Just go under sambatree.com and then go to Samba University, and the class is there. And it's just a 2-hour class, but you get a ton of information. Okay. All right. So let's see. We're going to use this one here. So now I'm in Midjourney. All right. Elegant ballroom scene in 1920s Lagos. Wow. I said Lagos. Lagos. Soft overcast, telephoto, photorealistic, inspired by Theaster Gates. All right, so let's take that out here, and I want to do raw. These are settings here. We're going to cover that in another class. All right, so let me do that. Got it wrong. Okay, here we go. All right, so now it's generating. These are some other ones that I worked on in the past. And it goes much faster here with Midjourney. But instead of it giving you 1 image, it will actually give you 4. All right. So let's take a look here and see what it gave us. Not bad. Not bad. Let's take a look at this one here. Not bad. That's good. Not bad. I can clean that up with, and improve my prompt a little bit. I can make some changes to it. All right, let's move to another one here. We'll do 2 more. Okay, this one is going to be a street style fashion editorial. Let's see what that one looks like. By Ibrahim Muhammad. All right. Since this is a street fashion style, I'll just change up to a portrait. All right. Let's see what that looks like. You see how it's much quicker here. Okay. There you go. Boom. Done. Not bad. Not bad. and you can, I can refine the images here, because there's some parts of it that still look a little bit AI-ish to me, but those are things that can be easily fixed with the right prompting. You just have to keep playing with it, keep massaging it until you get what you want. All right, let me move. I'm going to do one more here. I'm going to do one here. This is a vintage 10 type portrait of a jazz trio, soft overcast, medium format, so forth and so on. We'll do that one. Let's see what it's going to give us. This one. Yeah, with Midjourney, the only thing I may run into is if you mention anything like bathing suit or little children or something like that, it will kind of be like, bruh, what you doing? You know what I mean? Even though you may be asking something very innocent, it just doesn't, And that one, we can work with that one. We can work with this one. That's pretty good. So this is a photo. Okay. She got something going on with her arm, but again, those are things that can be fixed now. That's another one there. That looks pretty good. And that's pretty good. Okay, so there you go. There you go. So again, this book here has over 400 and some odd prompts in it that you can use. These are starter points. These are starter points for you in building whatever it is that you're trying to do, whether if it's, getting the family together or developing a game or developing a school curriculum or whatever. This is the purpose of this book here, because again, we have to be forward thinking in this era right now. You got to stop thinking that some entity is going to come down and have to give you something. That way of thinking is done. It's over. The solutions are in your beautiful brown hands now. You can do this now. It's as close to you as this keyboard. All right. You can do this. And this book right here, what we've done is curated over 400 and some odd starter points for you. This is basically prompt engineering. It's teaching you prompt engineering on how to develop the perfect prompt for whatever it is that you're trying to do so that you can move forward and upward. Okay. So it's available now, and I'll just take you right to the website one more time. We'll go to sombertree.com. And the link is already in the comment section. But if you go to sombertree.com, right here, right there, sombertree.com. Like, for example, you got some of y'all have already seen this. I did that in Midjourney. All right. And I got plenty more images just like this. So you got to know how to ask, how to construct your prompt, but you do need a good starter point, and this is what this book provides. Go to Samba University. And so these are the classes that I mentioned here, AI artwork, where we really get into that. And then you got the big black book of AI prompts. That's right here, right in front of your face here. And it's $19.99. However, today I told you, look at that blue strip below at the bottom of the screen there. If you use that code, you get 15% off. So if you want to use it on this, great. If you want to use it on anything else that we have on sombertree.com, you can use it. Okay, but it's only going to be good until 7:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right. So that is all I have for you, and appreciate each and every one of you guys. Thank you so much for coming in and checking it out, and pick up a copy for you, for your family members or whatever, and let's start building. We could talk about problems, but this is the era of building, and I'd much rather be on the team of people who want to build things, not just talk about it. So here you go. Thank you so much for tuning in. You guys take care, and I'll see you again soon.